Players have zero concept of game balance and understanding, which is why community feedback should rarely be taken seriously.
Woo!
So today we're going to be reading and reacting to Yu-Gi-Oh! Hot takes. On Twitter I asked for them and I wanted controversial, truly blood-boiling takes.
And I haven't seen any of these hot takes, so this will be my first time reacting to them.
Thumbs up, which means we agree. Thumbs down, which means we disagree. Thumbs sideways.
What's that mean?
It means like maybe kind of sorta something in the middle.
Okay, cool.
Card packs are just straight up gambling, designed to exploit children and impulsive adults. They are IRL loot boxes, a blatantly unethical business tactic which artificially inflates the price of cards and actively makes the game more difficult to play. Oh, you disagree? Okay.
I disagree 110%. Card games have operated the same way for so long. This is soft gambling. This is not hard gambling. And even loot boxes are not even remotely as bad as the gambling that we consider illegal. Can it be bad? Sure, but anything you overindulge in can be bad. It doesn't mean that like just because card games have a random chance, even though it's not completely random, and as we know from people who pull cases, there are ratios to this, like it's not even remotely that bad.
So for me, I think I'm kind of like sideways thumb. I think that they are a form of gambling, and I do think that it can be like kind of a scummy thing. My thing with it is just that like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are fine to like indulge in, like opening packs and stuff, if you know what you're getting into. I think you kind of know that like the average amount of value from like opening packs is gonna kind of be like not great, right? Like on average.
Like no one's saying that you should be risking your livelihood on the chances of pulling a card. You definitely shouldn't be doing that. But what kind of a card game doesn't have chance?
Well, I guess the alternative that some people might suggest is that like you can just buy the set as a whole, which is something I saw some people talking about in the replies. Like I just buy for $50, I just get one of every card in Duelist Nexus, let's say. That so you don't open packs with a chance of pulling things. You can just get like just the set in one go. Why not?
Come on, man. That's not card gaming. That's not card games. I mean, if you want to buy like anything like figures or comic books or anything else in life,
I don't know. I mean, I think that's just the business model. Like it's just that you buy packs.
And I'm not against buying singles. I buy singles. I do it whenever because I'm a huge collector of things. And for things that are chance-based, I always tell Paul, chance doesn't exist with me. If I want it, I'm going to get it.
From Rhyme Style, my turn means my turn. If the game further keeps going in the direction where it's our turn, it'll kill the game in the future. I think here he's talking about TR elements, fluanderies, not just that they're like maybe stopping one little thing that you're doing, but rather they are like playing out their combo, you know, searching cards, getting advantage, doing things during your turn.
I gotta agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I think for a certain type of player, those decks can be a lot of fun. Like I know a lot of people speak highly of like the TR Elements mirror match, but I also think that it should not have to come at the expense of like everyone else's experience. Because if someone's not playing like one of those decks that does that, they just gets to summon Havness and then start milling and then start fusing and then start searching chain of things in your turn. That's not really any fun.
It feels like that you have to be playing a deck that hard counters decks like TR Elements, decks like Fluanderies, in order to play at a pace at all. Because the issue with decks that play on both turns, you get outpaced if you only play during your own turn and they have plays during your turn and during their own turn.
To me, that's the thing is when like I'm playing a tier against tier on Master Duel and like they summon Havness and start doing things in my turn, it kind of disrupts me or whatever. And then my turn ends, and now they're starting their actual turn.
Yeah.
And my deck doesn't play by those rules where I just get to like literally search and combo in their turn. And so it's feeling like they're getting two turns.
You know, a lot of people, they don't talk about their experience with tier playing against other decks. They talk about the tier mirror, where it's fair.
Yeah. So, you know, I saw some people talking about this on Reddit actually the other day. And there was one person who was saying like, well, that's just kind of how like Yu-Gi-Oh's evolving. That's like kind of the power creep of it. And they should make more decks like it because it solves the problem of like the go first, go second issue, which is, I think, an issue in Yu-Gi-Oh. The whole like, you know, if you get to go first, you get to do so much uninterrupted stuff and make a big board and your opponent has to deal with it. So in a way, this could contest that. But I think the only issue is that any deck made before these decks is kind of powerless. Waifu cards like Dragon Maids, Tiara Elements, Labyrinth, etc. suck ass art-wise. Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to have such a distinct art direction that was unequivocally theirs, and now they all look like the DeviantArt front page with how poor the design choices and art style are in comparison.
I'm actually here with this. I'm here.
Sideways? Okay.
Here. I'm a known lover of old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Design. I love my like creatures being ugly. I liked my monsters being terrifying. And I liked my spells feeling mystical. You know, I'm an old head, what can I say?
Same.
However, I really think that's actually just now Yu-Gi-Oh's style.
Look,
yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh style has changed. I think we're a deck of robots, waifus, and dragons. That's Yu-Gi-Oh now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, so this is coming from somebody who, you know the types of decks I play. I play
Waifus.
Labyrinth, I play Exorcister, I play Rika, I play Witchcrafter. I do still sometimes feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's waifu thing has gone a bit far and that they all kind of run together. Like there's just so many of them, and that it kind of makes it hard to distinguish from like your average mobile game or like anime protag. Like I don't love that part of it.
It does feel like they have to introduce a waifu-esque archetype almost every year.
I look at things like Amazonas, and I look at things like Harpies, and some of those like older monsters, even like the Guardian Angel Jones and you know, that sort of thing.
The good old
or like
days.
Gravekeeper Spy. They still felt kind of like they fit within that Yu-Gi-Oh look and feel, and they can still feel terrifying and threatening. And I just don't know that, like, all the monsters now, I like them, I just don't know that they really feel like monsters, per se. I feel like they're more like heroes, like in a hero game, like League of Legends, Overwatch, like that kind of
like they're champions.
Yeah, like they're like champions,
yeah.
like, you know, and that's cool. And I will say with Trap Tricks, that's too far. This is from Dire Yu-Gi-Oh! The game would be healthier if we could have 2 copies of a card as the max instead of 3, forcing less consistent decks.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but that just feels wrong.
I mean, I will say this. This answer definitely did the assignment. Like, this is definitely a hot take.
That is a hot take.
So my take on it is, I don't think it's like the solution, but maybe it's like the sadist or the curiosity in me. I would love to see them try.
You know what? I'm going to sideways because I don't disagree with the idea.
Like, that's the thing.
It's just
it feels so foreign.
Think 2 of is the way.
I don't know enough about other card games to say, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's one of the more consistent things.
Oh, by far.
There's already not like a resource system, so you see it, you play it.
Yu-Gi-Oh's crazy consistent.
So I think in that way, I mean, putting it like decreasing the amount would be pretty nice, just to like maybe slow decks down. One issue I might be foreseeing here, though, is that I think it would still hurt lower tier decks more than it hurts high tier decks. It's my experience that casual players are far more toxic than competitive players. I've received countless personal insults and even a threat or two for playing meta decks, yet casual players will say that competitive players are toxic for simply playing a strong deck in ranked.
Okay.
Oh boy, this one's always fun.
I have a lot to say to this. They're not wrong, but there's a reason why. Because when you're playing a tier 2 and tier 3 deck into a meta deck, that loss feels bad. It's way worse to be playing a bad deck into a good deck and lose versus having 2 good decks playing and losing. Because you get stomped out.
Like, those people can be bad, but I think that it tends to be the people who are like the actual real, like where they truly do not actually know what's even going on in Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. They're just kind of like blindly shouting that this game is ruined, it's so terrible. I quit back when they made Synchros because it ruined everything. They don't even actually really know what Yu-Gi-Oh is today.
I mean, but those are the granddads shaking their canes at the young
But the thing
folk.
is, those are the people that will get like really nasty. Like online and comment sections.
We all know, don't talk to grandpa once he's had a few drinks,
I do think that it is best to just not even, like, that crowd sucks. I'll say that there are 2 crowds of people in Yu-Gi-Oh that I feel like really can get bad. It's that level of hyper casual kind of Yugi-Boomer, we'll say. I don't like that term that much. It's that sort of person, and then it's the person who's getting good at Yu-Gi-Oh and like kind of has an expensive deck, but they're still sort of losing. And so, because like the very best Yu-Gi-Oh players tend to be pretty good sports, or at least like they're nice people. It's those people who are like right underneath that kind of get elitist about things. That, say like you shouldn't run this deck and you suck for this.
The best player at the locals.
Yeah, the big fish, small pond effect. Okay, next take. The literal text formatting of Yu-Gi-Oh card effects makes the game significantly more accessible than needing to memorize a whole bunch of keywords like what Magic does. Correct, and there's just one thing I'll add to it. But I used to think it was like bad because it's wordy, and I still do think cards could afford to be like less wordy. More so these days, I just think they need to format it better. Like literally like just readability, like bullet points or like numbered effects so we can just separately see what like this effect is, what this effect is, what this effect is. Because the way that it is right now is that Yu-Gi-Oh cards effects are just one long paragraph. Just one long block of text. There are no line breaks and there's no like bullet points outside of specific cards. And then there's always that like, you can only activate the effect of blah, 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 the blah, 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 blah once per turn. And it can get hard to parse. So I think that improving formatting could help a lot.
And I don't really have anything to add. I'm just going to say I disagree because I ain't reading all that.
Oh, okay. You just don't want to read.
I just don't read
I will say, as someone who's been trying to kind of pick up Magic, one thing I used to think keywords were the answer. I'm not so sure anymore because it does mean you have to like learn the keywords and like go and look them up, and so that can actually be more.
Yeah, Magic's keywords are a pain. As when you're newly entering, like me or someone, I basically need a glossary that's kind of on the side when I go through Magic cards because there are so many. The game's so old and there are so many keywords. And the thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh! If Yu-Gi-Oh! Started keywords today, it would have to have a lot of keywords.
The amount of retroactive, it just wouldn't work.
It would be a bit of a nightmare, but you pick and choose what your problem is.
The term Yugi-Boomer is unconstructive and irritating as hell. Old school Yu-Gi-Oh! And modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Are two fundamentally different games, and both have their audiences. It's goofy to act like one or the other is objectively bad. Easy thumbs up.
Yeah,
I think it's an easy thumbs up. The whole Yugi-Boomer word, I think it was a joke at first. The more and more I think about it, the more I just find that words like that aren't really helpful. It's like a generalization. It kind of becomes one of those like insults you just throw at someone to completely dismiss their point of view. Mm-hmm. And that's not helping anyone.
I mean, what? The boomer insult, that's the entire point of it when it came out. So Yugi-Boomer is the same thing, just to dismiss an older person or a person with an opinion that you can attribute to like being older or old or being an old fogey.
MBT says, you already know. It's just this go.
Wait, I don't.
He says rotation format.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, MBT's rotation format.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think this is a pretty easy. I'll say this. I don't think that rotation is the answer to every last little thing in this game.
It isn't.
And I don't think that it should be the way that everyone's forced to play. But I think that honestly and truly, it would help with a lot of things, and it should be an option. And by an option, I mean not something that Konami keeps at arm's length and like kind of likes to half acknowledge or whatever. I think it should be a legitimate, like, we support this at locals. This is how like YCSs are played, or like some regionals or something.
Like, I'm actually just surprised they haven't implemented, only because it would make future card design so much easier if you're planning to only be pitting a certain amount of cards versus a certain amount of cards.
I think rotation would be a good thing for Yu-Gi-Oh! To at least experiment with. It would solve so many problems where old stuff creeps back up and it's broken, like Smoke Grenade of the Thief, right?
Who would have thought?
In addition to like archetypes that kind of overstay their welcome, Dragon Link, like Dragon Link's not even like the only one, but there's been plenty of archetypes that kind of stick around for a long time, and you can make the argument, I suppose, that, well, it's good that a deck can be like viable forever. And I think there could be a format where you can do that, but certain stuff just needs to go.
Like, I mean, many games that have rotating formats, they still have eternal formats next to them where you can play your one deck forever.
From Zach Butler, players have zero concept of game balance and understanding how to actually market the game for the key demographics in different regions, which is why community feedback should rarely be taken seriously.
Woo!
Scathing.
Ooh, he came for y'all neck, boy.
And yet, I agree with him.
Oh, man. He's not wrong. No.
And so here's why I agree with him. Because the truth is, I actually was making this analogy earlier before we even recorded this video. Everyone in Yu-Gi-Oh's got some problems, right? You have a problem
Not
with
personal problems, but problems with the game.
Well, maybe they have personal problems.
We're not going to say that, though.
True. Everyone in Yu-Gi-Oh's got a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Somebody's upset about the current format. Kashtira's too broken. Someone's upset about the general kind of just state of Yu-Gi-Oh. Too many long turns or broken combos. Someone's upset about short prints. Someone's upset about hand traps. Someone's upset about the ban list. And somebody's upset about the price of something, right? And we're kind of beyond the point of like just the ban list being able to fix it or just one product or something being able to any given person, their issue is like the issue.
Paramount.
Like my issue is the only important thing. The things I care about are the real problems with this game, and anyone else be damned. And I get it, right? Like you've got the things that are important to you, but I think that not enough people really consider that like any decision or any change that has to be made in Yu-Gi-Oh will affect everyone. And because of that, it's hard to really take any one person's opinion more or less than anyone else's.
You know, I say Yu-Gi-Oh players, they can't see the forest for the trees. We're looking at this big tree that's blocking our point of view, and it could be Kashtira, it can be
Maxi and Master Duel.
Yeah, Maxi and Master Duel. And you want us to chop down your tree? We got to chop down everybody's little tree, and that doesn't actually solve anything. There are bigger problems in this game than those specific issues.
A really important part of this video, discourse in general, is to remember that your opinion is only your opinion. It is not like a fact. That goes for me, that goes for you,
That's true.
That goes for
we actually
everybody.
haven't shared a single fact in this video.
Yeah, like by and large, what we're saying is just, it's just what people think. Like you might think that your opinion is really well reasoned, right? You've got all this evidence, and here's why this being banned would be good, or this coming back would be good, and this would like be healthy for the game, and this deck shouldn't exist. But it's only your opinion. And I think the moment that you realize that your opinion isn't necessarily like right or wrong, but rather just yours, and that other people can have theirs, and that we're all kind of just in a space together, that's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's important. It sucks because it does mean that change is always going to come slowly from Konami. Like, I don't think that things will always happen as quickly as people maybe want them to.
But I think that's because the problems Konami works on are on a much grander, more macro scale than what we want fixed now.
Right.
Konami's not too bothered by your feelings about Maxi, and they're not too bothered by your feelings about Kashtira. This game has to continue. It has to sell. It has to grow.
And they have a lot of audiences to cater to. And so the thing that you think would be perfect, yeah, sure, you want to play, tier dittos all day long, but there's a whole group of people who don't. And there are people who want old school Yu-Gi-Oh back, and they think that they should just ban every combo card in the world. But there are people who enjoy that. And what makes your stance more valuable than their stance? Like, really?
Virtually any opinion that has an opposite opinion in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, it might as well be moot.
Yeah. And I think that's, it's not to say that it's not worth talking about and like sharing, but just something to keep in mind. All in all,
this is just a guy's hot take. I wouldn't even put it like that. I ain't even want to come for y'all like that. I wouldn't have said all that.
All in all, I'll just say this. I agree with the take. Which ones did you agree with, disagree with? Keep it respectful, please.
Yeah, but don't be afraid to come for us too.
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want more content like this, we do have a podcast, The Pod of Greed.
Yeah, it's named after this guy.
Yeah, over on our second channel, APS Amplifier, new episodes every Thursday. We talk for hours about this game. So if you want more of this, that's where you should go.
Go ahead and leave your hot takes in the replies underneath this video so we can do this again. Pass turn.